Theatre academic and historian Greg Homann has been appointed the new artistic director of the Market Theatre in Newtown, Johannesburg. He has worked for institutions like the Wits School of Arts and AFDA, Johannesburg, where he was the head of the School of Live Performance. He was for some time resident dramaturg at the South African State Theatre. He has been a member of the National Arts Festival Artistic Committee and served as an ambassador for the festival. He recently started his new role and joins us now in studio to share more. Greg, very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome. And congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's very good to be here, SABC.
Absolutely. Take us back to when you first received the news that you'll be, heading the Market Theatre.
I learned the news, I suppose, around November this year, and I had to sort of keep that under wraps, and it was only announced sort of 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So it's been something that I've been holding on to, but that time gave me a lot of opportunity to think about the role and the task that I have ahead.
So have you been able to grasp the huge task that lies ahead?
I mean, I think so. I walked into the building for the first time as the artistic director on Monday.
Okay.
I've had an amazing week of a very responsive and very eager and keen team that are interested and invested in the growth and strengthening the legacy of the Market Theatre and the Market Theatre Foundation. And I mean, I've worked there over the years as a director and as a playwright, and as a historian and an academic, I've studied and reflected on the legacy of the Market Theatre, which is close on 50 years now. So I think I have some sense of the scale of it, but it's a job that you need to listen and you need to kind of engage and you need to really think about how big a job it is and try and respond to that.
And having been in the creative space for quite some time and having worked with different playwrights and having worked with different creatives in your entire career, you are now filling very big shoes. So what does your role entail?
Well, my role entails engaging with artists across the country, trying to make a space for them so that we can really tell the stories of our country and tell the stories of what it means to be a South African living today. The Market Theatre Foundation is not only the Market Theatre, although that is the starting point for it. It's also the Windy Brow Theatre, where there's a wonderful youth program. It's the photo workshop. It's the Market Lab, where there's a 2-year educational program as well as weekend classes and so on. So my job straddles and intersects with all of that as well. So it's a big job. It's an exciting job, but in some ways it takes all of the activities that I've been doing over the last 20 years as a maker and as an academic, and it puts it all under one roof, so to speak.
So you basically be introducing your past experience in this particular role, right?
I think so, in some respect, but also engaging with so many people who have skills and bringing people that we believe are the right people into the space, and telling the stories of our country, because I think that's what the Market Theatre has done for so long and done so well for so long, and has become globally recognized for. So the task now is, how do we tell today's stories? How do we reflect on the challenges we have today as a society? And how do we entertain and engage and make people want to come to the theatre and want to engage with arts and culture and visual language and all of those practices, so that we can really think about where we live, we can laugh, we can cry, and really engage in a deeper way with art and all of the things that it has to offer in this exciting and dynamic place, and contradictory and complex and difficult place that we live in.
Right.
Yeah.
Greg, you know what they say about a new broom. So should we look forward to some, new changes or programs that you'll be introducing this year?
I hope so. I hope to, in the next few weeks, announce some engagement programs, particularly for artists across all levels of experience, that will help develop some of the work that they are thinking about. So hopefully that'll be announced soon. We're starting from April or a little bit before to announce the programming that'll happen in the theatre, and I'm beginning to engage with artists. I've had a very busy week, and I've got a busy week ahead of engaging with artists, and I really welcome people that perhaps haven't engaged with me or haven't crossed paths with before. I would really like to know where they are. I'd like to visit their spaces. I'm wanting to visit teachers and schools, because I think that the schools engagement program that has been running can really grow and be strengthened. And that's that's the next generation of artists and people who want to come to the theatre and want to engage with arts and culture is in our schools. So I really want to engage with school teachers and across. I'd love to visit one school in every area across the city. facility over the next few weeks and get a sense of what they're interested in.
I quite like the fact that, as one of your, the big roles that you need to play in this particular role is that you are, pioneering interaction with all the creatives in this space. So what's your plan then in terms of mentoring young directors?
Well, we've got various programs that have happened at the Market Theatre over the years, and the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture have funded a number of opportunities. So those opportunities continue through incubator programs and through internships and so on. Those programs continue. Mm-hmm. But I'm really invested as well, and through the work that the Market Theatre Lab is doing to work alongside those programs and support as best we can to try and get young voices into the Market Theatre. Sure. The one thing that the Market Theatre has done incredibly well for as I say, almost 50 years, is it's launched the careers and made people global names in their art form. And I feel a deep responsibility to use the platform wisely to give space to the next generation of artists so that they can also in time become the Bongeni Ngemas, the Winston Denshonas, the John Carneys, the Fiona Ramseys, the big names of our theatrical landscape and our artistic landscape.
Right. As I mentioned earlier on, you've got really big shoes to fill. I mean, you're taking over from James Ngcobo, who is a legend himself in his own right. So how are you planning to take the baton and just continue the legacy that was earmarked and left by James Ngcobo? Or are you going to bring your own shoes, not rather instead of filling your own
Well, I think the job is an act of reflection on what has happened in the past, and not only through James's time, but through Malcolm Perkey's time, to the artistic directors, all the way back to Barney Simon, who was the founding member of the Market Theatre. So it's to reflect on all of those legacies and go, what can we take the best of from those legacies and what is of value to us today, and launch that into the next 50 years of the Market Theatre and the Market Theatre Foundation. And I think that's the task. As I said, I'm new in the job, and I'm really reflecting on all of those things, and I'm really inspired and very optimistic that we can make a huge impact as we approach 2026, which is the Market Theatre's 50th anniversary.
You're quite right that it's such a huge role, because as the Market Theatre, it's launched the careers of so many artists and creatives, and your role is to see to it that more and more creatives join the fray, and more creatives are created as a result of the Market Theatre. And I suppose it'll entail, wide-scale interaction with the government, in particular the National Department of Arts. So what would you do then in terms of convincing the department to ensure that the net is cast wide in terms of allocating more resources to the training and mentoring of creatives?
I think the key thing there is to approach the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, who are already, deeply invested in the space and contribute, to our growth, our funding, and our programs in a major way. But also to align some of the things that I'm thinking about and that we believe we should be doing more of, and approach them with those interests. And it's not only about what government can do; it's about what corporates can do. It's about what people who manage grants, funding across the sector. So it's a space of shared ownership, and we need to take that on far and wide beyond just looking at government and how we make that work. I would really love that the Market Theatre and the Market Theatre Foundation and all of its activities become part of everyday life for people. And that doesn't mean just going to the theatre. That means having a grandson who studies at the Market Lab. That means having a child who visits the Windy Brow after school for an after school kind of activity of some kind, or coming to the Market Theatre because you're an interested writer who's never written for the theatre but has an interest in that, and you feel like you can come on a Wednesday night and you can engage in a course or a program that allows you to exercise those writing muscles, and maybe in time you write your first play. So there's many ways in which the Market Theatre can become a part of everyday life for South Africans, and we really want to grow that and strengthen that over the time that I'm there.
What about those creatives who struggle to break into the industry? So what role does the Market Theatre play in terms of removing those hurdles and barriers?
Yeah, well, one of the things that I'm looking at is trying to create a fringe space exactly for those artists, a space where they feel that they can knock on the door and the door is open, and they can come in and they can bring work, and that they get their first platform as a stepping stone towards a larger platform. So I'm looking at launching some ideas around that and sharing those quite soon, so that we can get new artists into the space quickly.
All right, Greg Homann, lovely chatting to you, man, and once again, congratulations. All the best.
Thanks very much.
Great stuff. We just spoke to the newly appointed Artistic Director of the Market Theatre, Greg Homann.